on the loo and taking long enough to be able to work, as well as to know there's a problem. You know there's a problem. I mean, you need to do the job and go on. The British medical doctor and surgeon, Dr. Dennis Burkitt, he was sent to Kenya during the Second World War, and he was fascinated by the size of the stool of the Kenyans. So much so that he started weighing it and comparing it with the weight of an average British stool. And I'm sorry, guys, it's so graphic, but you know, just the sheer size of it grabbed his attention. He's been used to this very small droplets of the British. And yeah, it was now these big lumps. And it soon became obvious to him that the larger the stool, the less frequently many health problems presented themselves. Because when he associated with Kenyans, there was very little health challenges. But the British at that time, they were dying like flies with everything and anything. So Dr. Burkitt's identified disease associated with constipation, high blood pressure, obesity, with coronary heart disease, diabetes, hemorrhoids, gallstones, hiatus hernias, irritable bowel syndromes, constipation, colon cancer. I mean, he made the list. It was there. And these findings reached the medical textbooks and created a greater awareness that diet makes a difference to our health, and what goes in must comes out. This is really the reality. So what makes the difference? Well, fiber consists of mostly indigestible forms of carbohydrates that come from plants. And if these fibers can partly dissolve in water, then it is known as soluble fiber. And it bulks up food in the tummy and so slows down the emptying of our stomachs. And the soluble roughage becomes like a jelly when dissolved in water. And I think of things like linseed, for instance. I've done a lot of research on that. It's like amazing seed to have on a daily basis. So soluble has other functions such as reducing overall cholesterol, slowing down absorption of sugar in the small intestines. So that prevents diabetes long term. Insoluble fiber does not dissolve in water and helps prevent constipation, intestinal inflammations, hemorrhoids. It helps with weight control. And the challenge is that we just don't have these things in our diet nowadays. We don't have diet-rich food, fiber-rich food. We like the white stuff, white rice, white bread, white everything. Are you with me? Yeah, this is quite discriminating. And of course, it bulks up the stool size, this fiber, and acts much like a gentle pot saucer to the inside of the colon. And so stool size is a good indication of the health of your colon. And I'll give you some vivid tests to look at so that you can go and look at your own situation. So there's one more important function of roughage, and that is that its presence in the bowel means party time for the microbiome. Remember we spoke about that? So all this poo-zoo, it's causing the poo-zoo, eh? The flora, the probiotics, whatever you want to call it, that's the party place. That's where they are doing well. And these little critters, they help to ferment, to break down the roughage, and then fermentation in the bowel happens, and there's a little bit of gas that comes off natural. It's not like, it must be like that. And this is why you will find people who are used to eating much roughage actually experience an increase of gas, especially when you change over, and people would complain and say, hey, I'm not so sure about this, Pastor. This doesn't agree with me. And I'm just saying, guys, hang in there, hang in there. Hang in there. It will come right, and it does come right. So, Dr. Burkitt found that the average Kenyan stool weighed 500 grams, and its transit time was about 19 hours. When you look at the the normal plant-based diet, it would be about 20 hours or more their transit time. And we will talk about that. We have spoken about that. We'll talk about it more. But now he compares it with England. England, the equivalent stool weight is about 100 grams. How much? 500 against 100 grams transit time. And the transit time is around 76 hours. No wonder there's such a big rise in colon cancers and whatever. So yeah, the beetroot test, I mentioned this before. That's the best test to take. So you'll just cook some beetroot. You'll eat it at a certain meal as a salad and test it. Since that meal time, until the bowl where you sit on that throne gets red, that transit time is the time it took to work out. And it should be between 24 and 36 hours. Longer than that, big problem. You have to look at it. It's a big problem. There was a study from Denmark that showed that millions of people unknowingly have large fecal, that's now poo reservoirs, which back up the entire colon, the rectum, the anus, with solid feces, even though 80% had stools every day without straining. So the whole colon is just full, and it's just moving a little bit, but it's full. And what we understand from what it should be is, there should be, maybe, if I look at the hours, 1 meal here, 1 meal there, going out. Are you with me? And not whole weeks, and it just slowly, like conveyor belt out. So what would make you suspect a toxic colon? Bowel movement less than twice a day could be a toxic colon. I'm giving you the stats that really can make a big difference in your outcomes when it comes to health and a healthy outcome. Embarrassing, smelly, gas and cramping. That would tell you, hey, there's a problem. Straining or having time to read while sitting on the toilet. I mean, if there's a U magazine and you have to, go through a few articles, that says to you there's a problem. Relying on store-bought laxative or stool softness. And as I say to you, just go and see if I'm right or wrong. I mean, there's shelves full of this. And we're not talking about the medicine behind the counter. We're talking about those that you can take in front. Not non-scheduled. So if the poop that's hard, ball-shaped, stringy, covered with mucus, or is yellowish or greenish, that would tell you, hey, there's a problem. And some people, they just don't take notice. I've had one person sitting in one of my audiences like this a few years back, and afterwards were very, very disgusted with me and said to me, you as a pastor of all people should not speak about these things. You should not speak about it. And then and by the way, it was a medical doctor, and I said to him, Doc, if you spoke about it, I wouldn't have had to. But nobody's speaking about it. We don't want to speak about it. So I've had many people say, Pastor, you were spot on. What you said there, that's what I'm seeing. And this is a problem. And I didn't know it's a problem. So we have the responsibility. Because remember, if this is okay, this is going to be okay. And this is okay, my connection with God is going to be okay. Are you with me? It does affect even our spirituality. So having to wipe the bum more than once, going to the bathroom, that's a problem. It should be, a clean process. A protruding stomach that feels heavy all the time. That's a sign. There's a warning. There is trouble. There's something not as it should. And then retaining water. It could be in your ankles, but keeping water. That's a challenge. A bowel that feels irritated all the time. Always aware of its presence. And when I do my counseling with people, many people are having this sort of thing. Number 10 is a background feeling of nausea, and especially after meals, not feeling so comfortable. Have I eaten too much? What has been the problem? And then, feeling tired when you first wake up in the morning. I mean, this is the time that you should feel the freshest. That feeling tired, it's another day. I don't know how I'm going to make it. Guys, if you want this Bristol stool chart, you just ask me for it. But this is important. I mean, it's not something anybody else can do for you. But you can go and analyze. You can, this is what cannot be done in a laboratory, is looking at what you're leaving behind here and make a comparison of what it compares to, and then it will tell you, listen, this is probably what the problem is with your digestive system. And I found this spot on over many years working in the health sector. So you're going to look at the picture. You're going to point to what it looks like. And that's what I use in my counseling. So I don't want to say they must now explain to me it looks like this. No, they just say like that. And then I would say to them, okay, this is what the chart says. This is what we're looking at. So when we look at this chart, and we're looking there at 4 and 5, that's considered normal. Our normal mantra is that it should be soft, it should be shaped, it should be airy, it should be light brown in color, it should float on the water, and it should pass under very little pressure. This is the ideal. We know that we've got a good digestive system if that is the case. If there's color change, if there's, if it's solid, if it's not what I'm explaining to you, there might be a problem. I want to also just say to you that, because some people, we take the easy route. The easy route is, it's easier than to change my lifestyle. Just take a capsule. That's it. There's a lot of warning. And if you want to see this warning on your own phone, then I'll send it to you. I'll send the slide to you. But there's a lot of warning around this that we need to keep in mind. So, why all this information? Pastor, why so visual about this? Number one, you've learned what a normal stool should look like. I like this graphic comic here. Sometimes I feel that I have the worst job in the world. That's a toothbrush talking to the toilet paper. Yeah, right. Number two, how to recognize the possibility that your stool may not be normal. So I'm giving you the background to that. That constipation is not caused by lack of laxatives, contrary to what many people believe. I'm just having too little of that. Our post-mortems show that you can have up to 5 kilograms of putrid, rotten waste matter build up in the inside of your colon. In Denmark, there was a study, and it showed that out of 251 men and women with various digestive issues, ranging the age from 26 to 89, a whooping 62% of the patients in the study had built up hard, dirty, fecal poo reserves in the right side of their colon and their rectums. I mean, this is a high percentage. So constipation is only a sign of the problems elsewhere in the body. Laxatives, oils, so-called liver pills are worthless in curing constipation long term. It's not solving the problem. It will give me, a tummy that would work for a day, and that's it. Then you start all over again. So why do we have constipation? Constipation is not a disease of the colon or the bowels, but rather a problem of the digestive system. It affects performance in every part of your body. I've seen this. I presented the Brain Power seminar with especially students at universities. So our closest university here is, closest one here is UCT. Now UCT, I've visited probably about 6 or 7 times. They called me to come and do the brain power seminar there. And I've seen something very interesting. So we give there about 14 hits to the brain. Say, avoid this, avoid 14 things, and you will excel. You will excel. And then you would find one person, say, hey, but I'm doing this. But, it's not there yet. And then it comes down to a simple thing like they don't have good bowel movement. Simple thing. And we help them to solve that. And here they go and they say, wow, this is interesting. This is connected. And that we looked at yesterday. That is connected. So why constipation? The root cause can be found in your refrigerator. It's not in your medicinal cabinet. It's in your refrigerator. It's on your stove. It's not in your body. That's where the problem lies. It is found in your cooking pots, on your plates, and in the choices that you make between your meals. Remember what I gave you, that stat? 2 pieces of chocolate in the morning, 2 hours later, 2 little blocks of chocolate. What was the delay in the digestive time? Can you remember? 13 hours delayed. So this is the realities that we are talking about. It lies in the fact that we used to eat good, healthy food, with much of it homegrown. And it means we need to go back to the dietary principles of our forefathers. Don't eat from the shop. Eat healthy things from your own garden. Our mantra is whole grains, legumes, fruits, vegetables, which are all high in both types of roughage. Get a variety of these over a period of a week, and you will find some amazing things will happen in your life. So I've got something at a meal. For instance, when I have fruits, and I really push this, I need 4 to 5 fruits at my meal, at my breakfast. At least 4 to 5. And I would have that rather than anything else. When we talk vegetables, that would constitute 4 or 5 different vegetables, and as uncooked as possible. I'm not saying everything raw, I'm not saying that. But we need some of that fresh stuff as well. So, why constipation? It lies in the fact that we are eating party food at most of our meals. Party food. At every meal, we have party food. It's caused by many simple choices we make. When we go to shop, we've got a choice: white or brown rice, white or whole grain rice. We have to make a choice: white or whole wheat bread. And because we just have to bite and then swallow, and we've become lazy, we would take the white because we don't have to chew it. Whereas fiber, you have to chew it. White or whole wheat pasta, whole or refined mealie meal. I've just put this note here. It's impossible to actually find these that's GMO free, and this is why I really love the shop, Be Free Shop, because that's where I get those things, and they are striving not to have GMO food there. So when health is removed, when a food is whole, it contains all that it needs to digest that food. But the health part essential to the functioning of the body inside of the cell is taken out. So when we have white bread, fiber is taken out and the germ is taken out. So we're left only with the endosperm. And that's the sugar, that's the energy part. But the health part is taken away. If nutrients are missing, then it's because of a process that has happened. And your body cannot remain healthy with parts of the food missing on a continuous basis. I mean, if it's one meal a year, it's fine. But That's how some of us eat all the time. Your body cells have to be supplied with whole foods in order to remain healthy. It's like, my car is a diesel car. I cannot put petrol in there. It needs what? Diesel. And then it will run well. Your body cells need to be supplied with what it needs. And this is the same with our cars, as we said. A plant that grows in poor soil will become diseased and will be attacked by pests. In the same way, a body that is not being supplied with nutrients that is needed will become diseased and will become the home of parasites and microbes, that's germs, and they will start taking over. And if you look at what we've discussed, I think the first night, you'll understand exactly what we're saying. So, roughage, number one, is an important thing that we need to get into our diets. That's our number one thing. When you think healthy, think roughage. Don't think the white stuff. Think roughage. Water is another one. It helps you to go swiftly. It really helps you to move things. It's really very, very important. You see, when I get dehydrated, the first place my body will go and look for water is in the colon. I mean, that is sewage water. Are you with me? Why not give it fresh water and we will do much, much better? So you could have more than enough roughage in your diet and still constipated if you're dehydrated. So you need to drink enough water. You need to drink enough water. That urine should be a pale straw to neutral color. If it's yellow, if it's any stronger color than that, it's a sign. Listen, I need more water in my diet. And then it's probiotics and flora. By the way, Beefree sells probiotics, very, very great value for money. And it's something that you will just take, a little quarter to a half a teaspoon on a day, empty tummy in the morning, half an hour before your breakfast. Just have it, put it under your tongue, and it will dissolve. This is really what you need. Your microbiome is essential to the bulking up of your stool and to giving you less offensive smells and whatever, because that is what that little critters do inside there. So besides helping with the final texture of the stool, they also protect against infections. So those good bugs, as we said, they are essential there. And they provide a great supply of B group vitamins. And as we have spoken about, even the B group, which is to some people the big problem. And as we have stated to you, a bigger problem now with animal eaters. I mean, it's a bigger problem because the animals don't have that anymore. Then it helps prevent cancer in the bowel. So if I have a good flora, that microbiome must be healthy. Latest news also says that it affects DNA expression. Believe it or not. So, I mean, especially when we're young and we have children, I mean, this is really going to affect the next generation. It aids the development of the immune system. What we said to you right from the start, guys, immune system is not sitting here and my bowel is sitting here, my digestive system. No, this is dependent on this. So we cannot separate the two. It helps with the digestion of food and absorption of nutrients. Well, that's why we need the flora. And one spell of diarrhea, my probiotics or my flora is gone. One spell of vomiting, and I might have some problems. One prescription of antibiotics, and I'm at ground zero. So we need to look at this more carefully. It has 7 different ways in which it detoxifies the body. This is now the probiotics that we have. There's no doubt that every move that you make helps to move the poo along. And a study showed that those who do exercise the most had half the incidence of colon cancer. So what we are saying to you is It's a holistic approach, people. It's not just what we eat. It is when we eat it, how we eat it, and even those things around it, like exercise. High-intensity exercise is now being shown to be the most effective way of achieving fitness. And it is easy because it doesn't require all the equipment that we sometimes think you need to have. And you could tailor it for your own needs. So what it basically means, high-intensive interval training means you do 30 seconds of hard running, as hard as you can, and or skipping, hard as you skip, or hopping, or whatever you want to do that would fit and suit you, and then you're going to rest, and then you're going to do it again. You're going to push yourself as hard. So I go jogging, and then I push myself. I run as hard as I can. I run as if I'm running, as a grade 1 for athletes, and I'm far from grade 1, But I do this only for 30 seconds. Push as hard as I can, and then I slow down, and I walk, and I cool down, and then I push it again, hard as I can. Wow, this is amazing stuff. So there's a lot of research on that. You can ask me about it. Then you do a low-level exercise for 3 minutes, and if you're unfit, you will start with just one cycle. When you get fitter, you will do more. I've just explained to you, I do more because I'm a little bit fitter than that, and that's it. That's all you do. That's all you do. You will find very quickly you'll be in great shape. So turn your life into exercise. Make your bed fast. You can make the bed, or you can make the bed. Are you with me? When you wash the dishes, you can wash the dish, or you can wash the dishes. You can do your housework, your sweeping. You can do your sweeping, or you can do your sweeping. And that's just this choice. Just do it at a different tempo. Do things yourself. We sometimes get lazy and we get somebody else to do it for us. Do it yourself. Do it fast as you can. If you're walking somewhere, I see some people. No, go there. Go and walk. Go there. Go back. And if you start just making that mind shift, you will find that you would actually get. Now, I've tested this, and to me it was theory, but to make it practical, my wife has got one of those watches that count the steps and the movement and whatever. And so I would let her do things with me and say, "What does your watch say?" What a major difference! Her ideal is to get 10,000 steps a day, and by just housework, you can easily get 6,000-7,000 steps. By just going, how do we do it? Fast and focused. Not slowly, Whole day time. No, do it. Get finished over with. It works well. Let's talk about fixing the urge to go to the toilet. It is vital that you have regular times to go to the loo. Now, I've learned this in the years back when I was a director and I had to travel a lot. And, it's very uncomfortable to have to stop at some public place and find a place that's clean enough to do the thing. So I've learned to do it there where I've slept the night, do it early and do whatever you need to do, and then you've got the day. And then this evening, afternoon, when I'm where I have to be, then, we go again. So you can teach your bowel to do that in the right way. You can get your bowel to do what you want to do and when to do it. You first need to get to the box or the small bench to put under your feet. Now, this is very, very interesting. Before we had the thrones to sit on, how did people sit? They squatted. So people that have a problem with bowel movement, that's the first advice I will give. Get yourself a little box that you would raise your feet up so that you would actually get in a squat position, and you'll see things will change very drastically. Are you getting what I'm saying? So just have a little box there. When you sit down, just push it underneath your feet, put your feet up, and you'll see it's going to really help a lot. Decide what time of the day you want to go. And at that time, go and sit and give a gentle press and from the right places. And choose a second time at the end of the day when it suits you. And again, go and sit, give a gentle press, and right place, and then it would happen. Be very specific about your times. Ensure that the time will be convenient to you to regularly go at that time. And it won't be long. Where it will. This is why we say there is a gut brain. Your brain would start doing that. It's not your brain saying, now you must go to Lou. No, it comes from here. So it won't be long. Nature will call you and you would go. Eat your whole foods. Make sure you are feeding your puzu. That's the microbiome. And get your exercise. And then you will find this toilet symphony will be a gentle, responsive tune, and you're going to start loving it. Are you with me? It mustn't be a growling, painful experience. So now you've got your constipation sorted out, but you are still, having this frequent heartburn. You still have that. There's some reflux that comes up from the tummy into the esophagus. And you'll probably have some constant sore throat and bad breath, and it feels as if there's a lump in your throat, and you've got difficulty swallowing, and there's some bouts of even earache. And that's now above all the usual pains and discomfort as we get older. And there could also be this burning sensation, on the breastbone, something. And I wonder if this is an ulcer. What is going on here? And you might even have a sour, bitter taste in your mouth. And you're having this acid reflux. And I want to assure you that is because of fermentation acid that you actually get that. So fermentation acid opens the ring valve of the tummy, thus allowing the food to go upwards. What should open it is the hydrochloric acid. And many times it's because there's not enough hydrochloric acid that actually happens. So remember, hydrochloric acid closes the valves. And what we find now is that the fermentation acid will do what? Open the valves. And so, what is the cause of the problem? Well, eating in between meals. So your digestive system is not getting time to digest the food and get rid of it. It ferments, and that causes the fermentation. Drinking with your meals. We said 30 minutes before, stop drinking. Only start drinking 1.5 to 2 hours after your meal. Going to bed with food in your tummy. Are you eating something that you know that disagrees with you? Tea or coffee, that could do it. Many people have that reaction because of that. Oily-rich foods. Food that has mix of milk and sugar in it. It actually causes an alcohol base. Sugar and milk, alcohol base. This is why, porridge with milk and sugar, not the best, especially for our children. You will see them excel if they don't have that. Do you smoke? Do you use alcohol? Could it be caused by bread or cow's milk? And that's allergens nowadays, very, very serious allergens. And sometimes it can be caused by healthy food. And you need to just find out, what is this? Your hot-working stomach is sending you help me messages of fire in order to try and grab your attention. And you are going on to have, you have to get to the point where you can actually listen to that cry of help. Sometimes what we do is we give it something more to quiet it down. You hear what I'm saying? Eat something more, and then you think it's going to, but it's not going to. So somebody asked about the test, the hydrochloric acid test. There's this very simple test that you can do. It is really indigestion that you are suffering from. So gastroesophageal reflux disorder, that's now GORD. It is a common condition where acid from the tummy leaks up into the esophagus, and it really, normally occurs at night when the ring muscle is now relaxing, and as it becomes weakened, and you can read more about GORD, G-O-R-D. But this is the test. You're going to take a glass of water, and you're going to add 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda in there. So one glass of water, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate soda. You're going to mix it well, and you're going to drink about half an hour before a meal. So before your meal, half an hour before the meal, you're going to drink that mixture. And we will expect you to burp. Quite a few burps, because you are mixing an alkali, that's bicarb, with the acid of the tummy, and this results should bubble up the stomach like Enos does. This is what's going to happen. If you do not burp, then know that your tummy is not producing enough hydrochloric acid. Your food will not digest properly. It's a simple test. Go and do it. When you've done that test, then you come and talk to me. People, chew your food well. That's really the start of digestion. Chew your food well. Don't drink with your meals. I'm repeating. Avoid any food that does not agree with you. Replace cow's milk. If you find cow's milk is not, our little grandson, he's at his age of 17 months, he's not happy with cow's milk. So we give him alternatives. Soya milk. There's many other samples that. Short-term supplements that you can use is vegan digestive enzymes, and then the betaine hydrochloric capsules. That is, and by the way, these things you can get from Be Free at a fraction of the price that you'll buy it anywhere else. I'm not putting an ad out there. I'm just saying that's the reality. This is where I get mine from. This is betaine hydrochloric acid. This is the form that is in your tummy. And then vegan digestive enzymes. You need a good probiotic. That's where you would get different microbes into your system. It should contain, when you read the label, it should contain Lactobacillus acidophilus and the bifidobacteria. If those two are in that, then you know it's a good flora. And then, how to fix this all? Let me give you a short explanation. The most important change that you can make is to start having a healthy and adequate breakfast. That's the first thing I also start. People, if you need advice with this, you ask me. I will send you recipes. I will send you methods. It will work well. You will fix this by using those